Well, I don't rib in the ring, because those people, those 17,000 people paid their money.
God
They
bless
didn't come.
you, man.
They didn't come
Yeah.
to see a comedy show. They came to see two guys wrestle. Two guys they've got a lot of respect for. And I knew Watts was having a stroke right now, so I came back to the curtain livid. And it was the only time I'd ever spoken back to Bill. Bill, I apologize. I came walking back and looked at me and went, Bill was usually rah, 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 rah. And he just was speechless. He opened his arms like, what the fuck? And I said, I looked at him, I said, don't want to hear it, talk to your golden boy. And, and that just started this long litany of things. And the reason I think it hurt me personally at the time was in 1990, everybody in the WWF called me, Sean, Marty, and Dustin the Four Amigos. Where you saw one of us, you saw four of us. When we would go to Pittsburgh, I'd give the key to my brother's house, who was a set designer in Hollywood, and make yourselves at home, And Scott Hall, conversely, when Johnny Ace and I were together, we would always allow him to jump in the car. It was very rare, if I can't even recall a time that he ever paid for gas. When it came time to eat dinner, I'll just stay here. Well, of course, come on, you're going to eat dinner, right? And, stuff like that. So now you do that kind of stuff for me. I don't care if it's 50 years ago. If I'm in a position today, brother, I got your back, and it was just completely different up there. Yeah. And, I was well versed enough in the business. The first time I worked with Scott, Bill was still there. Bill was there at the time. And we were in Lansing, Michigan. And I had been doing vignettes for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And we walked into the room. It was me, Bob Backlund, X-Pac, and Scott. And Bill was in there, and we walked in, and it was a long first aid room. And there was a gurney that Scott was sitting on, he's doing this. He's having a good old time. And Bill comes in and goes, okay, tonight, guys, it's Scott, it's you versus Shane, and Pac, you're going to be at ringside you're going to be out there doubling for Scott, and Bob's going to be out there with you, Shane. And he stops, he looks at the clipboard, and he goes, Shane, what do you use for a finish? And as soon as he said that, Scott Hall went from this to boo-boo face. And I thought, dude, this is wrestling, When I lose, I don't really lose. And when I win, I don't really win. We're out there giving the fans a show. And that night in the ring, I had certainly been well versed enough in the business and taught by and trained by enough qualified people in the business. I knew when I was getting the lead ass. I knew when I was getting the stutter step to throw the timing off. And we were outside on the floor, and I went to pick him up to body slam him. And it was Scott was a big guy, but he's not like an Andre big guy or an Undertaker big guy. And I went to pick him up for a slam, and it was like picking a Volkswagen up.